Hello, I'm Jane Ferguson, speaking to you from Geneva. I've worked in adolescent health for over 30 years, primarily at WHO headquarters, where I have the privilege of working with colleagues from many of the countries I believe you're from. I'm happy to be able to give you a few thoughts on the progress of adolescent sexual and reproductive health since ICPD. 25 years ago, we had to make a compelling case to pay any attention to adolescent sexual and reproductive health. One of the central claims that we made in 1995 in a publication by WHO, UNFPA, and UNICEF called the Common Agenda for Adolescent Health was that development during adolescence was a central part of human development, and that adolescent development, attending to adolescent development, was crucial to the prevention of health problems that were occurring during adolescence. And so like that development that is taking place during the second decade is second only to infancy in its significance and its rapidity. There are profound physical, psychological, emotional, cognitive, and social changes that are taking place. For example, during adolescence, a child gains almost 50% of its body weight, becomes capable of reproducing, has rapid transformations in his or her brain taking place, and all of these changes take place within a social context which is rapidly expanding and often changing expectations and of adolescents about their roles and their behaviors. So many of these changes also are not happening in sync. So a good example is an adolescent girl who looks mature, and people may be expecting her to be able to manage her emotions and think in a mature way, but she may not be able to. And these changes, although they are universal, the ways in which different societies consider them in terms of social responsibilities and legal entitlements differ considerably. There are vastly different opportunities that adolescents have or do not have to build the competencies that they need emotionally, socially, and cognitively to become productive adults. And of course, there's limitations of resources and unequal distribution of resources, even basic resources in many countries, and pervasive social norms that affect adolescent development in most countries, in particular in relationship to gender. Once we were able to convince people that adolescence was significant, we had to be able to quantify what differences made to health, and it described health and issues by age, but we didn't have data. And the Millennium Development Goals in 2000 made a huge difference, focused on the world on global development. And two of those goals in particular had indicators that really helped us make a difference in forging ahead on attention to adolescence. That was Goal 5B, and the indicator was on adolescent birth, the adolescent birth rate, and the Goal 6 on HIV, and those indicators had to do with prevalence of HIV among 15 to 24-year-olds and comprehensive correct knowledge on HIV among 15 to 24-year-olds. Although most countries still don't disaggregate their health information by age, the paper that Satvika has just presented to you demonstrates really the progress that we have been able to make in terms of the availability of data that enables us now to see that the changes that have occurred, the positive changes that have occurred in living conditions, such as increased enrollment and completion in schooling, and in terms of adolescent sexual and reproductive health. For example, that now that adolescents or more adolescents who are using contraception and gaining access to maternal health services. Chandra spoke of the progress, the factors contributing to progress in all 6 areas, and the availability and use of age and sex-specific data was mentioned across all 6 as both, sometimes both, facilitating factor and sometimes a hindering factor. Similarly, the importance of evidence of effectiveness of the interventions and actions that were often initiated and implemented by NGOs, and how that evidence led to guidelines, which has really fostered the pickup by governments. So while the support for adolescent sexual and reproductive health programs continues to evolve, appreciation of the extent of human development that takes place during adolescence and its impact on lifelong health has now taken a foothold on the international health and development agenda.